Welcome back to Win Games, Strategies for Success. Today we're looking at our first ever Strategy Showdown. A while back we showed you how to win the game, Welcome to Your Perfect Home. And a fellow gamer posted in the comments section encouraging us to consider his strategy for this game. So we will not only consider the Six Estate strategy by Muffwheel Robin, we will put it head to head with the Win Games strategy for Welcome to Your Perfect Home and see who comes out on top. First, let's take a look at his strategy. The Six Estate strategy is very straightforward. It is an elegant strategy, easy to remember, and, as promised, will score you about 100 points every time. And the way we do this is by making an estate of size 6 in the first row, starting with 8 here and working down. A estate of size 6 in the second row, 8 working up, and then we turn the bottom row into 2 size 6 estates. We fill these 2 first. And we are heavily favoring parks. We need to max out every single row on parks and get that bonus for the final park. That'll give us 42 points on the parks here. We will fully promote the size 6 estates and then probably go to a size 1 next, chop these up, maybe get some extra points out of it. And that's it. That'll get you right around 100 points. Don't use the BIS unless it's late game and you need it. When you go to choose your effects, you want to use a park. First and foremost, always and every time. You also want to play in one of those 4 size 6 estates. We definitely have to fill those up. And you want to promote them. So if you can get a real estate, that's nice. Definitely favoring the less common numbers as well. Things that are further from 8. And if you can remember all that, you can play the size 6 estate strategy. Win Games, as you recall, starts by filling the bottom row. And then it works, low numbers in one block, high numbers in the other. Depending where your pools fell, you may flip which block goes where. But as we choose effects, we're going to focus first and foremost on the pools because they're the hardest to get in. Remember that our goal is to get every single card we take to earn us points. So we don't ever take a temp agency or a BIS unless we absolutely have to, or unless not doing so would lock us out of a number too early in the game. We do want to keep those spaces open for as many numbers as possible. So we take pools early based on the pool strategy we just looked at, where those numbers are. If there's nothing there, then we go to parks. We definitely want parks as often as possible. We favor maxing out a block. And then we make a plan for fences and real estate agents that involves the city plans. For example, if these were the city plans, let's say, we would make a fence strategy where these overlapped. We would look at where the overlap, and currently, well, you have an overlap of 2s here, overlap of 6s here. 6s look best. So I'm going to promote size 6 estates and the size 2 estates. Those would be the 2 estate sizes that I choose. And I'm going to try to pick up both of these plans and get all of the estates that I build fully promoted, with maybe that one being the exception. But we'll talk more about the strategies as we put them head to head. And feel free to grab a sheet and play along with us. We're going to roll, see which city plans we come up with here. Win Games needs to make a strategy for these based on the overlap, so let's take a look. And it looks like 5s and 2s for the Win Games strategy, but with the 6-1 plan available, that might favor the 6 estate strategy. Let's see where we should put our fences. The 6 estate strategy is predetermined, but for the Win Games strategy, we'll make a 5-2-5 on our bottom block, 2 size 5s for our top block, and with the middle block, we'll make 1 size 5 estate and then 3 size 2 estates. Win Games will promote the size 5 estates first, whereas 6 estate strategy will promote the size 6 estates first. And I'll shuffle each of these decks before we flip the top card. If you're playing along, just pause after each reveal, decide what you want to do, and then see if we agree. For the first few flips, both strategies are going to play very similarly. Both are selecting numbers that are farthest from 8, as well as numbers that fit in the blocks of their priority. For Win Games, filling that bottom row, using our fences there first, 6 estate, filling the top 2 blocks and placing their fences there. Both strategies will also heavily favor parks, Win Games only putting pools higher than that, so provided that there aren't any, they will both be taking and checking off quite a few parks, although in different blocks. The first divergence in their strategy is going to occur when they have competing priorities. For example, I want the number farthest from 8, but I also want effects that are useful. Useful effects is a higher priority for the win game strategy, so in this situation, the sixth estate will take the 9 because they only need 4 real estates in the entire game, whereas win games must get points out of every play, so in this case they will take the real estate. Here we have the first pool of the game, and ironically there is no good place to put it. So both strategies are going to take that 10 park. The win game strategy placing in a position in the top row where our high numbers are going to be congregated and keeping it off of the pool. Here once again, the six estate strategy will take the number that is farthest from the center. They don't need a lot of real estate or a lot of pools, whereas the win game strategy will take the 7 with the real estate. All effects are fences, so it's just a matter of picking the number. Of course, farthest from the center seems obvious, but Win Games wants to fill the bottom row. They need an exact 9 in that space, and we'll take it right now while it comes with an effect that we can use. In a situation like this, where the number farthest from the center is really not that much farther than one that has an effect you can use, both strategies are going to take the 12 and use that fence. And as you place those fences, you certainly want to complete city plans, but first break each block up into an estate size that can score. The six estate strategy is going to go farthest from the center and useful in their top 2 blocks, while Win Games finally got a pool. Followed, unfortunately, by another pool on a 7 that can't be used, so everyone sticks with parks. While it is true that both strategies will frequently choose the same house number and effect, it's important not to overlook that those are being used differently. In the win game strategy, the bottom row is filled first, and that block is the most difficult as it's the widest, so you have the most opportunities of getting the exact numbers you need to fill in, such as the 9 we saw earlier. It's also important to note that when Win Games fills the other 2 blocks, it doesn't start with an 8 in the center. The 8 is slightly off-center in the direction of the numbers that we won't be filling. And this is going to leave them openings towards the end of the game that can use multiple house numbers, rather than single houses with only one number that can fill them. Now, one of the disadvantages of this strategy is that the bottom row is also the hardest place to get all 5 parks. And since we're filling that one early, we're filling it regardless of whether we're choosing parks or not, which means we will frequently miss out on that final park, which gives us the best bonus. So that's working in the favor of the six estate strategy right now. But we try to make up for that with city plans like the one we recently completed. Now, this might seem like a questionable play when the six estate strategy takes a temp agency, but remember that increasing an estate to a size 1 only lets that house score 2 more points, while being ahead in temp agencies will score them 4 points at the end of the game. On this next flip, we see the low numbers coming into play. Win Games still has space for a 2 because they didn't start their 8 right in the middle of the block. The six estate strategy doesn't. 2s, while less likely, will come provided that the deck doesn't get reshuffled by someone finishing a plan. Coming down to the end here, and the six estate strategy is just cruising on their parks. They have plenty of space left. Here, the win game strategy is forced to fill the last house in the bottom row with an 11, and they miss out on that park bonus. Ironically, the very next flip is an 11 park. If only they'd known. The six estate strategy has a moment of hesitation on which block to put the 11 park in. Both would complete, but their lower block has fewer spaces open, so they'll take that. Here's the last park for the six estate strategy. They've successfully achieved that point bump for completing each park's blocks, but notice how many plays there are left. Every park after this can't be used by the six estate strategy. Now, Win Games is not getting any points for that 13 pool either, but you'll notice they did just complete their second plan. And by going for those plans, we now have another way to get points out of our plays. They've successfully completed both of the plans by the time we reshuffle. And you'll also notice that in terms of numbers that can still be used, Win Games has only locked themselves out of a 10. While the six estate strategy is locked out of 5s, 6s, 7s, and 8s. Though the Sixth Estate strategy continues to hold the lead in temp agencies, and they are coming very close to completing a plan of their own if they can get those 3 size 1 estates. And here we have a 7 pool, the third of the game, and Win Games will finally take it. It's on exactly the number they need. They'll also note that they did complete that plan earlier. And how ironic that the 15s forced the Sixth Estate strategy to take their first permit refusal. That's usually your signal in a group game that you need to start tidying things up and taking what will score you points now rather than points in the long run. Here is the last fence that gives the Sixth Estate strategy their city plan. It is now all going to come down to who can fill out their entire board. With the Sixth Estate strategy taking their second permit refusal, you might expect Win Games to take the 13 bis. But that space in the top block will only take an 8, while the space in the second block could take an 11, 12, 13, or 14. So we're going to chance it. There's still quite a few numbers available to the Sixth Estate strategy, and hopefully we get 2 more shots. And the temp agency comes through for us. It gives the Sixth Estate strategy somewhere to play. We have to play it into our widest hole, but our final gap will hit on a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, and we got it. So both of the strategies have accomplished all of their major goals. The Sixth Estate strategy was even able to pick up one of the plans. Let's see which of the 2 scored more doing it. So we add the scores in here, and Win Games pulls it out by 3 points. You'll notice in the front end here, between plans, parks, and pools, we were able to get 48 points. While he picked up a plan, which means he outscored us on those first 3. And if you toss in the 7 to 4, he's doing great. But we catch it up in here as we promoted every single spot on our board because we paid close attention to keeping spaces open. He got the 48 he was going for and even picked up some bonus, but it wasn't quite enough at the end to get that final score. This, I will say, is one of the closest games I've played between Win Games and the Sixth Estate strategy, but I think making sure every single action gets you points in the long run is going to pay off. Thank you for watching. That's how you win games.